Welcome to the Bang the Drum podcast, new location, Dryden's Gym. We got tried our first recording, got hailed on. It was quite the Mother Nature was on full display, ran us out. So we're on take two here. So this episode 3, deep draft. Welcome aboard, Stevie boy.
What's up, brother?
Not much.
It's gonna be a fun episode for the second time.
It is. My feet are all wet. We got a little flooded,
Yep.
hail. Tried to get through it.
Yep.
Things didn't quite cooperate. So a little
No, it
wet, a
didn't.
little under the weather, pun intended. Took a little Mucinex, but still drinking some beer here. Conway's Irish Ale. This is Great Lakes out of Cleveland.
Same old.
This is good beer, dude. It's like 6.3%, but it's a real good taste. Conway's Fresh Ale. I have a Perdomo 20th anniversary. Smoked one of these on the beach in Atlantic. Gulf of America. Gulf of America. You know, you like that?
I do.
Some people don't.
Oh, I like it.
Gulf of America.
Well, if anything, it has America. in it.
That's right. America, baby. That's what we're after. We're real men.
We
Real
are.
men talking about football. We stayed out there in the hail.
We did.
I was worried about you getting cold and everything.
I was good.
You're a dainty little creature at times, but we did it. We got it through. Todd Rundgren,
Yes.
bang the drum.
Bang the drum.
He doesn't. He just wants to bang the drum and not work all day. We want to talk football and not work all day. Will it ever happen? Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But Todd, I got some tidbits for you. Now you know what they are.
I do.
Todd, Liv Tyler,
That's the third time.
Liv Tyler in her day. You can't comment on that. You're married.
I'm just sitting here.
You got to sit there straight. You better not smile. Man sees you smile.
I'm just smiling for the podcast.
You
'cause
better
I
just
love
be smiling at it.
I love Bang the Drum
I do
podcast.
too. Todd Rundgren was with a model, quite the hot model back in the 70s, I might add. She had a kid named Liv Tyler. Her dad, Steven Tyler, Monkey Face, Aerosmith, good singer in his day. You could dog that dude all you want in his day. Dream on, baby. He walked this way. He was evidently so much of a drug head, couldn't take care of Liv. Reports say. I didn't say that. Don't hold me accountable. Todd Rundgren came in, took care of her. Liv Tyler. Yeah,
What a great stepdad.
he is.
Kind of reminds me of somebody.
That's right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Then he dated another model who also dated Bruce Springsteen. Todd's no joke, dude. We're just throwing on Bang the Drum. This guy, he has his own wins.
Didn't know who he was 6 weeks ago.
I did. I didn't know all those factoids, though. We hear that song all the time at the game. That's what we
We do.
talked about. So here we go. Let's back to football. So I'm going to vent a little bit. You know me. I'm going to try not to most of the time. But, there's only
Are-
5 players.
Are you sure you're not on fire?
I'm
right
on
now?
fire. There's only 15 people that have first round grades. Guess what? Everybody in the first round is going in the first round. You hear all these goofballs say that year after year. This draft, there's only so many players. First round grades, a first round grade. What that means is, they act like there's only 16 first round grades, but every year for a long time now, 32 teams have first rounders, right? That's how it is. They're first round grades. So you hear all that garbage. You hear, so and so's jumping up the board, so and so's going down the board. None of it's true. Silly season, my friend. Don't buy it. It's not true. Nobody knows what's going on. So for the first time since probably maybe last year, I might have done one last year. I was going to say a long time, but did a mock draft for the local paper here, People's Defender. Been doing that for a while. We talked about it. So in that mock draft, I had Tyler Warren fall to him with that option. He may not. We'll get into that a little bit, but I had him picking Shamar Stewart. I like the kid. We're going to talk a little more about him a little bit. But mock drafts are mock drafts. I'll do a final one next week. I might share the link next week on Twitter. You can follow us, Bang the Drum Podcast, Bang the Drum hashtags out there, right, Stevie boy?
Yep.
So we like. So when you think about the guaranteed top 16, I'm just going to do mock draft till the Bengals pick at 17. But so I got a few here. I think it's safe to say Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Travis Hunter, obviously, Ashton Jeanty, Mason Graham, probably.
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson will probably go. I think that Membo will go. Kelvin Banks, maybe. So the guarantees kind of stop right there, right? Tyler Ward's not a guarantee. He's not a guarantee.
He's not.
He probably should be, but he's not because edge rusher, receiver, and, I think Shador's going in the top 16. So that leaves a lot of options for the Bengals, Stevie boy.
Yep. Kelvin Banks Jr., like old Scotty boy said, Shamar Stewart, Um, Starks may be there. Campbell may be there. Simmons should be there. Loveland, hey, who knows, right? Tyler Booker, probably a little bit of a reach if you pick him at 17. He's more of the bottom of the round guy. Um, Half these names I can't pronounce, so it is what it is. But these names anymore are unreal. I'm just like, whatever. Um, oh, Williams from Georgia. Morrison from Notre Dame's probably the end of the round kind of guy. Um, uh, how do you pronounce the Boston College guy?
Zeraku, he's got a shot at being
Yeah,
Donovan Zeraku. I like him.
probably 17 to 32.
Who knows?
I mean, maybe even top of the second. So, um, a lot of players. They got a lot of needs. It's gonna be a fun night. A little bit of a plug. We will be doing a draft night. Who knows how long that'll take? We really don't care. We're going to go live. We're going to do our best at.
Keep clean, keep clean.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we'll see. Should be fun. Come check us out. It's going to be a good time.
Yep, absolutely. You think about like offensive tackles, pass rushers, receivers sometimes, definitely quarterbacks kind of rule the roost when it comes to the draft. But now I think, Genzy's gone, but I think the running back from North Carolina, I think he's gone too. I think there's a good chance he goes top first half of the round. I had him in the mock draft going to the Bears as a shock. I had Genty going to the Patriots as a shock, right? New England's done a very good job. The Bengals are a better team than them. Like, to be fair, you can sing praises for someone like Vrabel, and he certainly deserves it. You know my feelings on Vrabel and
I
that what
do.
they're doing there. I think they've done a great job, but they're also a team that's starting from a lot way down the line in terms of a baseline compared to the Bengals, right? So I think the Bengals are still a better team than them. But the Patriots are an ascending team, and they have the flexibility without a lot of holes to really draft whoever they want. I think Genty might be a possibility for them there or trade down. So these guys all had, not all of them, but there's concerns, right? Abdul Carter, who I think is the best player in the draft. There's still some injury works there. Travis Hunter, is he a receiver? Is he a defensive back? Where are you going to play him, right? There's concerns there. Will Campbell, I like him, but it's rare that an offensive tackle with arms his length, that's a concern. Genty's a running back, that automatically brings concern. Membo's very, very young. Banks, the receivers in this class. We'll talk about edge a little bit, but when you hear this is a deep class, I'm going to wait, but they're not all equal, right? So you get into the second round. The Mike Greens, Shamar Stewart, they have all got question marks. Michael Williams, with his injuries, he's explosive. Personally, so the Bengals have fell in love with some of the, upside, the athletic attributes, traits. You hear that all the time, and I'm usually against that. I'm not a box score scout. I typically go as I've talked to you about it before. Josh Allen was my number one player in 2018. Told everyone at the Senior Bowl that would listen, including the Giants front office GM, the Browns the same, and a couple other people there face to face that, to me, he was the best quarterback, not only the best quarterback in the draft, the best player in the draft. And that's where I would have went. So I feel comfortable about that. I don't look at, it's over 57% passes you can't take, Deshaun Watson. I was all over Watson. The concern then was his RPM is only 55. Steve, I can't take him. So they avoid all the tape of these guys playing in some high profile games, especially Watson back then. Winner at that time, we didn't know all the off the field stuff. The guy was a winner, and he played really well at Houston until then. So
Sure.
you can get caught up in all that and forget the game tape. What should matter is the game action with all consideration who they're playing with and who they're playing against. That outweighs the combine any day and every day. But
But you can use the combine as a tool.
absolutely, it should be a delineator. Like, the analytics stuff's nonsense to me. I killed Pro Football Focus when I did the draft. I'd smoke their ass every year, right? And they're always, if it was up to them, who was that quarterback? Tyrod Taylor would be a Hall of Famer, right?
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't have picked him, the last pick in the draft. Nothing against Tyrod, including Baker Mayfield. They loved him. I would have taken Allen, and Darnold over him. So I like Mayfield. But the point of that is, like, I'm going against what I usually say here. Big time. Big time. Shamar Stewart, heard somebody say, like, his production, like, it's not really there in terms of sacks and everything. But I'm telling you, I've watched a lot of this guy. He's havoc. He comes in with his hair on fire a little while, needs to settle down, but he plays the run. He gets after it. You and I talked about super athlete. He's my number two defensive end in this draft. Head of Mike Williams, head of Donovan, head of Mike Green. Abdul Carter, I'd take over him, but he's obviously not going to be there. But if he's there and the Bengals picking, I'd be happy. Your thoughts?
Agreed. 100%. His athletic ability is next level. Um, his RAS score was, I believe, a 10. His combine numbers were fantastic, along with how he got to the quarterback, not necessarily the production as far as sacks and stuff, but
Pressures.
what he done to wreak havoc. So yeah, he's probably my number two, number three also.
He's got huge upside. It's risky pick, but so's Pierce. Williams has been banged up. Zeriku, I like him a lot, but he's small,
Flip a
long
coin,
arms.
brother.
Huh?
Flip a coin.
I think so. I
You know
think
what I mean?
I like him better. Pierce is just so one dimensional. He did that. You watch them plays that wide nine where he's way out there, and team just kind of ran at him. He just is High State did. It's just kind of a joke. So as we transition to look at the Bengals, I'm going to talk a little bit, and I'll let you get on a pretty good vent, I think. But resource allocation. By the way, we're at Dryden's Gym today, as you can see in the background. There's feedback.
Garage door.
Had garage door. Had to go into the gym factory, and maybe we'll get a workout in after. But as you look at resource
No.
allocation, I might actually I already did today, a little banged up. But um, you look at defensive tackle as a perfect example, and I'm not going to rant too hard on Duke Tobin and those guys, but anywhere else, people wanted to take defensive tackle. They spent sizable money on BJ Hill, sizable money for cap hit this year. Doesn't matter now because they didn't do anything anyway. It didn't look like they were going to. Jenkins, second round pick. McKinley Jackson, third round pick. And then they signed TJ Slayton. So that's four pretty good resources on defensive tackle. You pick another one, you're basically saying, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. I don't know what I'm doing at defensive tackle. So quantity is going to be more than quality. I'm just going to, here, let's pick a guard. Let's pick this. And that's kind of what they've done.
Maybe one will hit.
Yeah, you can't, that's not the strategy when you're a championship level team. So to me, if they pick a defensive tackle, I don't care who it is. I think it's a bad label for them, a bad look for them, and it speaks volumes. And the same goes for defensive end, honestly. I'd be okay if they pick one there, but they spent on a side. They drafted Murray. In theory, they're probably going to spend a lot of money on Trey, or he's gone, one of the two. I mean, at some point, quit kicking the can down the road. Your draft pick's got to play, and if they're not playing, your ass needs to go. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree 100%. They put way too much. I think stock in what Lou was saying, and I think it's hurt them. They they just don't. They haven't drafted well enough. And then once they draft and they get these guys in house and they go through the process of evaluating, and then when it comes down to game time, I mean, these guys aren't getting snaps. Like if you look at Murphy, Jackson, Jenkins got some run, but it's more toward the end of the year. Like these guys need to play. And if they don't play, they're not getting snaps, they're not getting experience. So what happens is everything that they've done from the draft on, it puts them behind the eight ball for the next year. And they haven't gotten the amount of snaps that they need to do to get, um, I mean, to be honest, they don't have enough tape. Like when they look at these guys, I mean, what's Al Golden looking at? You know what I mean? A college tape and what, a handful of snap each game. Like Murphy. I mean, these guys need to play to get the experience to come in and to be able to, start producing for a team that these guys have to start playing. So just like you said, first, second round, I mean, to be honest, they almost put themselves in a position where why do you even draft a defensive end or a tackle? Because what are you going to do? Where's the snaps coming from?
Yep.
You just pay Joseph Osai $9 million to come in for 1 year. He's going to play.
He has to.
I mean,
He better.
Hubbard's not there, and usually he rushed from Trey's side. He's probably going to move to that side. So is him and um um shit the Murphy. I mean, are they going to share snaps? Like, where are we going here? Like, You just paid a guy $9 million to come in and share snaps with a rookie that probably needs to play 70 or 80% of the time. So, I mean, you have to start putting out draft prospects that are going to come in and play. You drafted them. You know what I mean? You thought they were good enough to come in and play, so you're going to play them 10% of the time. Bullshit.
Waste of pick.
It's a waste of a pick, and you've already set yourself behind another year. And like some of these years, like for instance, like Joe, and this is year 4, year 5, year 6. You keep putting him. You're wasting his prime. You're wasting Jamar's prime. You're wasting T's prime. I mean, you can't. It's now. The time is now. And they put themselves behind the 8 ball. They didn't do nothing, yeah, in free agency like what we thought they was going to do. And this draft is it, dude. This draft
It better
is
be.
they got to hit, and if they don't, some heads need to freaking roll.
They would have somewhere else. The problem is,
Absolutely.
where does the blame lay? Duke Tobin, I've been very critical of him, and I think he deserves it. He's the face of it, right? But behind the scenes, I think he is handcuffed to a large degree with not the appropriate scouting staff, and also is he getting overridden? We go back to Drew Sample this is not hindsight. When they drafted Drew Sample, I said, what the hell are they doing? When they drafted Carmen, what are they doing? Like, there's no way I'd have drafted those guys then.
Mhm.
Not hindsight. I said then, those are fifth round players. So there's a couple ways to look at this. And I've had this argument many times on podcasts over the years. Like, if you draft an offensive guard in the first or second round, he starts for 7 years and he's okay. You can look back and say, well, we drafted a guy, but you missed on some Hall of Fame talent that, could have maybe propelled you to a Super Bowl. And you look
Yeah.
at it's not fair to compare everything to Brady's and Belichick's Patriots, but even Roethlisberger, who we both hate, and Pittsburgh, and more so, you go back to Walsh in Montana when he was healthy, and then even then when he wasn't young. But those teams were always in it. And that's because they knew what their system was and they'd plug and play guys. And in Pittsburgh's case, those guys would come up and it may take them a few years, James Harrison, whoever else, but they brought in veterans to fill that. They're not bringing in the veterans. And then these young guys aren't getting it. They just don't have that championship pedigree within their front office. They don't know how they're used to trying to get a team from 4 wins to 8 wins to 9 wins and just hang around. They're not used to busting that door open. The best way to describe that sense of urgency is not there.
Yeah.
It should be. Well, we've got Joe. We're always going to be around. No, 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 no. Be like Philly and those teams. We're going to go fucking win a championship because
Uh-huh.
it's hard to do. And you got to go after it. And you got to add pieces like Hassan Reddick and all these guys that are pass rushers that are limited. Ladarius Smith and those guys. Sign them.
Still helps.
It all helps. You bring those guys in, third down pass rushers, defensive tackles, whoever else, even like
Calais Campbell's older than dirt, and I
yeah,
would still take him, brother.
yeah, and guards like Scherf and those guys. Like you bring in those receivers that fit certain roles. Like Kansas City, I hate them. I hate them as much as anybody right now. But you bring in these guys that fill roles, and that's what you do. They just stand pat and say, "Hey, Joe, go win it for us and Jamar." And it's you're 2 seasons in a row not making playoffs. Well, Joe was hurt. They were 500 before that. Like, and who knows what would have happened, but it didn't happen.
Huh.
And the bottom line is, like, I'm not a big Zach Taylor fan. The problem is there's so much blame. I don't think you put it on him. I think you put it on Duke solely. It's all of them. And, the question is, why aren't they ready to play out of the gate? Because they're
Yeah.
too young.
So
I
good.
said it every fucking year on Twitter and everyone else, and everybody argued with me last year. They're not arguing with me now. Too many rookies are making the team. You heard me say it.
Yeah.
Too many rookies are making the team for a championship level team. And did they produce? No.
Uh,
Like I like Yoshi, but
well,
is he
they didn't produce for one that they didn't play him,
yeah.
which goes back to my point. Like you've got to play him. If you don't play him, how the hell can they produce? That they can't produce.
Quantity's not better here. Quality is. So trade down, or I mean trade up, get the player you want, do what you need to do. It's just not their MO. So, you had some stuff about Duke, what he said in the combine stuff, and where is the blame?
Well, he pretty much said, "Hey, we're not going to pay the same team more." Well, guess what he did?
Yep.
He paid the same team more, and where they're at defensively and where they're at offensively is night and day. They should have went out and spent some money, but now, um, you lie in your bed. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. And the way it looks like they're almost like, well, they're okay with what they have, but Duke didn't say that. But the way they went out in free agency, that's exactly what they said. Well, this is what we have. This is what we got to deal with. We made our bed. Now we got to lie in it. So, their 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 defensive line and their linebackers just aren't very. Their secondary, I think, they've got some potential in their secondary, especially at corner.
If through the pass rush.
Exactly, which it goes hand in hand, right? So if you improve your pass rush, you don't give them 4 seconds, you give them 2.5. That's a huge difference.
Oh my.
You know what I mean? But they have to start, and hopefully Al can do that. He can start getting some pressure. He can change his scheme up because hey, so here's one thing: the first 3 to 5 games, teams aren't going to know what they're doing,
Absolutely
right?
not.
And so that may help them start faster, which we've preached and we talked about. It may help them to be able to get over that hump early to them when they get on that run like they have year after year. Then maybe some of these young guys can start coming in their own because he's got a plan
Oh yeah, you don't have a choice now.
between this draft. I mean, that hell, it's always got. And we don't know about Pratt. It looks like Pratt's going to stick around. Geno Stone looks like he's going to stick
You know,
around.
be there.
So hopefully, I mean, this draft again, do or die.
I get it. Like that human nature thing is our defense stunk, which it did. So you want to put all your resources in that, but you got two holes of guard. And in reality, you're going to miss on Hall of Fame type players. I've said it for as long as I can live. Like there's a few principles from football I live on. One is if you rush three, you lose. We've seen that many times. And in my life, that's how I want to try to keep that. That means be aggressive. Play on your heels or on your toes, not your heels, which they always play on their heels with Lou. And the other is like, man, just go for it. Fucking go for it. Like let's go for a championship once, right? And those things like those apply. Like let's get after it. Let's go out. And I think Golden will. The question is, I don't know. Like so that human nature to go defense is not the way to go. You don't go after need. Don't draft need. They put themselves in a pretty tough one now
They have.
with the guard. The other positions that are need, I think you can get around it a little bit, but man, when you got Volson, Cody Ford, and the guy that just, I mean, come on. I mean, you got to address it. There's no way you don't have to do it in the first round, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. I would have went
It doesn't
veteran
either.
route on both guards, see where we're at. So now, we're a little over a week into the draft, before the draft, the first round. I mean, there's a variety of ways they could go. I mean, I could see it, edge then guard, guard then edge, which I hope not. There's a lot of talk of that. But Eamon Worry, the safety from South Carolina, we've talked about him. He reminds me a lot of Derwin James. He's a little more athletic, but I think Derwin James is more instinctual. But if he is Derwin James, you take him.
I agree. I
You take
agree.
him.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
just take him and worry about everything else. And that guy could be a game changing type
Game
safety.
changing. And
That's
that's what they need playmakers.
absolutely.
I
He is one.
just get playmakers.
Yep. And you can't be. You look back at even Brady's teams with the Patriots. Certainly, the Colts teams with Peyton Manning, they were in it every year. Like we talked about, they didn't have those giant lulls, and they built the team fitted, and they were there every year with a chance to win it. Belichick had their number. If Belichick and Brady aren't around, who knows how many Manning has, right? So they were in it. They knew how to draft it, and the Bengals are built like we talked about before, high octane offense. The defense has got to be fast and quick and rush the passer. Right now, I don't think they're there, but Golden will fix a lot of that by blitzing like crazy, right?
Yeah.
We'll put a lot of pressure on their back end. They're going to have to get home. He disguises things. So an Naaman Ward can help with that big time.
Yes.
Um, I know as you look at it, we're going to get into some sleeper stuff here. Like you said, we'll do it live and we'll have another show before that. We'll look at it from a macro standpoint now, the draft. Like, you hear this every year. I've been doing this long enough to know that, all the stuff you hear, they're moving up, moving down. And then, right now, if you listen to any of the podcasts, like McShay, I do want to mention McShay. I've always kind of been against him. And now that he's not on ESPN, he's doing his own thing on YouTube. The other guy's good too. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I did know it, but they do a good job. Like, I don't always agree with it. It's not about me agreeing with it. It's
All
about
right.
all the bullshit, the yelling and screaming and the Stephen A. Smith
It's the
nonsense.
clicks.
Yeah, it's all
All that's all they want.
sensational. And he's not doing that now. He didn't have to. So they're doing some fundamental things. So he talked about, and it could be right. I think Most of the time when you hear this is a guarantee, it's not. The draft, who knows? They'll talk about going up boards and dropping down boards. They don't know. I think Cam Ward's going one. I kind of believe that, but the rest of it, I don't know. And he talked about the Giants loading up with what Wilson and Jameis, and then the Browns signed Flacco. As we look at that, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe those two teams aren't the one that picks Shador, but you got the same. You got other teams in that might move up. I expect Shador to go in the top 10 or 12. He'll be gone for the Bengals pick. Your thoughts?
So I do think Cam Ward will go number one. Abdul Carter will probably go to Cleveland. Hunter could go to the
I
jump.
might go to Cleveland now.
He might.
I kind of think he will if they
Man,
don't
you
get
put you put Carter there on that defensive line. Whew.
with Gary. Yeah, it'd be tough.
That'd be something
I hope
else.
they go
I,
Hunter.
I hope it don't
Hope
happen.
they go Hunter.
Hope it don't happen. Travis Hunter could go. I don't know. He could go to New York. Um, I mean,
He's tough. I just don't know what you do with him. He's
I
tough.
don't. Yeah.
Super athlete.
I mean, there's a lot of people say, "Who cares?" Playing both ways.
It's the
Yeah,
NFL, baby. It's tough.
it's tough. Genty, I would hate for him to go Jacksonville. I mean, the dude can play, but man, Jacksonville, it's such a that organization ain't great either. Um, I mean, he could go to New England. He could go to the Jets. I mean, he might fall down to the Bears at 10.
They could snag him if he does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One,
I
two.
mean, yeah. Mason Graham. I mean, the Jets need help defensively still. I mean, 2 years ago they was what a top seven, top
Oh, yeah.
eight
They fell off
defense. They fell off the you know freaking roof. So, but I think man, it could go anywhere this year. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun night. I still like as far as the Bengals. I mean, I like Campbell, man.
I
I
know you do.
like him. I just think he's the
He's not. I mean, he's a good football player. There's
yeah.
nothing to dislike.
I just hope medical wise he's okay. I think he'll be there. I for
Well, I
sure
do
think
too.
he'll be
Yeah,
there.
I do
So
too.
I don't think they'll go that way, but that's who I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I hope it's Tyler Warren. It won't happen. The thing is, you look at it last year. I bet like 100 or whatever it was on McCarthy to go 10 to Vikings, $1,000. We're sitting there watching it. So exciting. It's going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen there at some point. So it's going to happen again. You got surprises that are, Genty. I got him on everybody's got him forecast to the Raiders, but Tom Brady's there now, and that means something.
Yeah, it does.
They got Geno Smith. They got some caretaker, but if he believes in Shador, he'll trade up and get him, or he'll take him there, right? He'll take him. What they 6? He will take. So that I think the quarterback movement, and you never know, man. Jackson Dart. I don't know if you knew this, um, and I'm not going to doubt McShay here. When he's on ESPN, I'd bash the hell out of him, right? But he made a very good point. And some of the other folks have talked about it now. They do that invite list. Have you seen that to the first round? I don't know if it's official yet, but Milrow's on it. And if it's true, he said, some insight there that's pretty cool. He said the NFL will tell you stuff and they'll smack your hand, tell you not to say it, and they won't because they'll pull your access, which is filthy NFL. We know they are, but it's supposedly reported. I'll look it up here in a second, but that kid, he's no different. Like, I wouldn't have drafted Anthony Richardson. When I came out, there's no way I'd draft this guy. It's not
Super
hindsight.
athletic, but
I
it
wouldn't
is
have
what
picked him.
yeah, I wouldn't
But
mean
Milrow is just as athletic, and his arm's just as strong, and he's not even being talked there.
right,
You never know.
right.
I'm telling you, you never know. Like Jackson Dart and all these guys, and the quarterback for Louisville, which I
Let's
talked
hope
to,
so.
talked to a Louisville fan that I think he'd go after the Bengals either way. But the Louisville fan's like, why would anybody pick him? He went and watched all his games. He's 26 years old. I don't, but the quarterback, man, I'm telling you, that pressure to fill that position is immense.
Oh
And
yeah,
teams will reach, and they're going to reach this year. I don't think it'd be as much as normal, but 2 will go before the Bengals pick. Last year, 6 of them. A
yeah,
lot of people have Shador right there with, Bo Nix,
yeah.
Penix, and those kind of guys. So it's going to be fun. When we do that live draft, we'll stream it probably on YouTube or something. We'll do some betting stuff and all that. It's gonna be fun. It's
That's
always
gonna be
fun.
fun.
And as you think about it, the draft shakeups outside of the draft as a whole, what would the Bengals do? what would surprise, like a legitimate pick that would surprise him to me, if they went offense anywhere but offensive line, I think people would be stunned and the media would be all over them, right? Oh, their defense up, which I think would be awesome. Like if they picked the Tyler Warren, I would do cartwheels or try to. Your thoughts on what would
Yeah.
surprise you?
Tyler Warren would be a stun for sure. I mean, he's probably the one that if he failed, they would have to take, but I think it would still stun people. I'm with you. I'm not even guard. I'm more of an offensive tackle slash guard. Someone who played tackle that's going to play guard that may play tackle in a couple years if Orlando's gone. Um, like I said before, other than that, they have so many holes. It's kind of wide open. So as I did some of these drafts and I've looked through players and I've watched videos and stuff, I'm like, "Oh, that guy could help. Yeah, that guy could help. Yeah, you know what I mean. So they've got so many holes. It's like there's not a ton, but for sure, Warren
Oh,
and Loveland would be a like mind
blow the,
that would blow your
it could
mind,
happen.
and it could happen, but it would still blow my mind.
It would me too. The thing is, like the draft and stash, right? And again, teams have done that before. Pittsburgh was, like I mentioned before, Harrison, different guys, they would do that kind of stuff. He wasn't a high end pick, but they would build him up and get there. But you've got zero Super Bowls, zero. You've been to
Zero.
one with Burrow.
You ain't got to tell me.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, you can't draft a guy and say we're going to backfill. They've been a backfill draft team, right?
Uh-huh.
We'll draft a guy, next year or 2 years from now, when this guy's a free agent, we'll play him. That doesn't win you championships. That keeps you around. Get guys on this team that can help today, right?
Yeah,
Immediately.
immediately.
That's the thing they've done a very poor
Playmaker.
job. Yep,
Playmakers.
absolutely. Burrow, Chase T, Logan Wilson, Pratt, even very good players. But outside of once that window started really opening, and saw what they had. They've been horrible on offensive line.
Yeah.
They've got to do better at getting players. In this draft, it's deep. You talk about edge. JT from Ohio State in the second round would be outstanding. We'll go over some sleeper picks here in a little bit. But as we talk about the draft and the trades that are going to happen, the trade deadline in NFL will disappoint you, and other sports will disappoint you. In the draft, it probably won't, and the surprises probably won't. Right? It's a circus. They've created a circus, which I don't like. I wish it was more football centric. But the circus, the organic circus of trades and surprises, these guys will get up and beat their chest and feel like they know who's going where. They never do. McCarthy,
Never.
Penix, oh my gosh. Nobody had that, right? Nobody had that. So you got, Kirk Cousins is out there. Shador, a trade up could happen. Dart could fly up, and get surprised. And do you think there's any chance that Trey's traded during the draft?
I don't. Not at all. The way they do things, the way they do business, I think they're asking a boatload, and teams just aren't going to give it up. Whether it's, I think it would have to be a player and a pick. I mean, but like we've talked about on previous episodes, or just mean you bullshitting or whatever, like you're not going to find any player that comes close to Trey.
Yep.
So if you trade and then I mean, what are you going to get in the draft? Depending, I mean, is it a second? Is it a third? I can't see it. There's no way a team's going to play a player, a player, and then a first. No way that's happening. And I just think that's what they're asking. I think Trey went out. They let him go out to basically just say, "We told you so."
Kind of feels
You know
that
what I
way
mean?
now.
And that's what it feels like. And honestly, in the beginning, I mean, look, he's under contract. That's what they say. Look, you're under contract, $16.5 million. You signed the extension. It was you and your agent that made the deal. What now? That's how they look at it.
Yep.
Does he deserve more? But
He absolutely does. But
he absolutely does. But it's also, look, dude, you signed the deal.
yeah, you don't
Yeah,
owe
you
him
you
anything.
should have. You don't own nothing, but they've tried to. But I think they've lowballed him so much that I don't even think it's even a
When
consideration.
he came
I
out and
really
hammered him on what was it, McAfee or something like that.
all that shit don't matter.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
and I don't even think that was even a good tactic. I knew what they were trying to do, but all they did was they just look like
It doesn't affect the Bengals so much because they really don't. He's got plenty of faults, Mike Brown does. Sorry, a little under the weather here. But he's got plenty of faults. Um, but he doesn't hear the critics. And maybe he should more, honestly. But some owners have rabbit ears. You look at
Yeah.
Tepper and some of those other guys, I mean, they'll react to whatever. You don't want that either. But the thing is, like, if he plays this year and he's gone, I mean, that's probably what's going to happen, right?
This probably is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and
And they might get a deal done. I mean, we're not sitting here saying that it's either a trade or a 1 year. They might get a deal done, but I would suspect it'll be July. I mean,
I
it
mean,
ain't.
he
I don't
might
think
hold
it's.
out. He
Yeah,
might.
I don't think it's going. And honestly, even if he does hold out, where he's the defensive end and all that kind of stuff. If it was Chase again, or if it was T again, or if Joe was holding out, well, of course. But with Trey holding out, other than a little bit of a distraction or distraction,
It's easy for you, Seth.
it's not a big deal like it was with Chase because honestly, like I said, and I think it's episode 2, um, it hurt him.
Hurt the
Chase
timing.
Chase holding out hurt him starting the season. So Trey, what's he gonna do? He's gonna rush a passer, he's gonna over pursue on a run, and that's getting into a totally different subject. But I mean, he's a rush passer guy. I mean, yeah, he is, but he's just an average run defender, and it's basically he's gonna come in week 1. You're gonna say, "Go get the quarterback."
He can do it.
It's not gonna kill him
Yeah,
if he holds out.
and I think they've built up a little bit of grace. I think with signing T and Chase, so the reputation across the league it matters a little bit when you're trying to lure free agents. But I think that helps them a little bit. I'm not saying they're doing this by any means, but it almost feels like it's not. It almost feels like, all right, Joe, you want all these guys signed. You came out and talked about. Here you go. You get nothing else. I mean,
Yeah,
it does feel like
it
that a
does.
little
It
bit.
does.
I don't think that they do
I
that.
don't think so either, but it sure comes off that
Yeah,
way.
it does. It feels like, hey, you got your guys. We don't have another dollar left. Now what are you going to do? But I mean, I think they want to win. I just don't think it's the end all be all winning. It's to the front office.
I think they want to win 10 years in a row instead of winning it all 1 year.
Yeah.
I think that's what they want to do.
He can do both. Like Philly, look at it. Gee
I mean,
whiz.
you can, but they're not going to structure contracts right to be able to get the amount of players that they need. They're not going to do void years. They're not going to push money back in the year 3, year 4. They're just not going to do
Yeah.
that.
Like that, we talked about it before. Hassan Reddick and those kind of guys. You need those guys. Like sign them for a year or two. They're pass rushers. The glowing thing that stands out to me, and it's just so bright and it's hard to ignore. How in the hell you can leave those guard positions the way they are? Not just one of them, two of them. If you're leaving one of them, you say, "Hey, we'll address it." But man, that is just Volson. The fact that Volson's on the team is just mesmerizing. He's horrible.
And what scares me about that is that Dave came into it and said, "Well, I think I can do something with them." You know what I mean? It's almost like,
Feels that way as a new coach,
yeah,
new
you know what I
line
mean?
coach.
It's almost like, because he talked pretty big on some of his interviews about Volson. I'm thinking, yeah,
Hey,
I mean, are you watching the same film we are? You know what I
who
mean?
knows? I guess. I mean, if you believe that inside that office, that means how in the hell did you keep Pollock around then? If you thought that little of that guy, how did he stay there for so long? I
I
mean,
have
we
no
both
idea.
did. The same issues over and over and over. And he wasn't given a whole lot to work with, but the
Who knows?
miscommunication.
Who knows what input he was putting in on
Oh,
those
you
guys?
never know.
That maybe some of them guys are his. We have no idea what those conversations are in the draft room. We have no idea.
The miscommunications on the O line and just the thing with Volson, I mean, you're going to get beat. He doesn't get beat. It's immediate. So you have no chance. And Cody Ford's all right back up. And it's just, you just left yourself you left yourself pretty open to bad things happening and you have to address it. With that being said, you don't have to be great everywhere. So everybody looks at a team like we've talked about, again, with this Brady's Patriots, whatever team you want to pick up, there was areas of the team that weren't great. You can't be great everywhere.
No,
But you just
no.
have to be solid. Like,
Coaching's got to come in
yeah,
to
just
that
solid. You
point.
protect this piece. We're going to do this to protect that. But I think they're so bad at guard right now that, ugh,
It'd be tough.
like even linebacker, you wanted to dress, and I do too, but they're not horrible there if the D line plays better. You know what I mean? They're not horrible if the D line
It's
plays.
if you don't
Logan
mind,
was banged up.
it's not so much that I think they're incapable of playing linebacker. I just think that's a position that they can get to another level in. Like they can do things with a athletic, more capable linebacker that can cause havoc that they're not going to have on the defensive line. Does that make
It
sense?
does because Hilton's not there now. And he
Right.
was he
Right.
was
Somebody play on the line of scrimmage and be that thumper, the guy that comes in and puts their helmet on someone else's freaking groin and says, "Let's go," you know? So I guess that's what I'm looking for is someone that's aggressive that and I just don't want someone that's going to come in and you're just well to blitz. A few of these guys, especially Campbell, he's one of them guys that can come in and kind of do it all, right? And I mean that's really it's not no. I think if they stand pat where they're at, I think they're fine. You know what I mean? It's just that that's all they are is fine.
yep. Puts a lot of pressure on the
If
pass
Logan
rush.
gets hurt, then what?
And he I tell you, it's a bad history coming up. And Pratt's lost a step, which we already talked about. But linebackers, you like, we're going to get into some sleepers. I wouldn't call this guy a sleeper by any means, but Carson Schlesinger from UCLA. But again, you only have so many picks, but that guy's a player. He's a
Yes.
player. So if you don't address it, you can get some guys later. Cody Simon at Ohio State is a very good football player. He's not going to test
He's a
well.
football
His
player.
instincts are off the
Yeah.
charts. But he had
Football
a good
player.
D line in front of him, but
Yep.
he's all over everything. So
Yep.
as we talk about, I'm going to go over a few of my sleeper picks for the Bengals. There's a lot of talk, running back, Caleb Johnson's getting a lot of play. I like Travion better than him. I like Judkins better than him. But those picks, I can't, maybe Judkins falls to the third, but I look at that first round or second round as premium picks, honestly.
I do too.
And I just don't think you can spend one there.
In my mind, plug and play.
Yeah.
In my mind, plug and play.
Travion would make a difference, but he's a lot like Chase Brown. Judkins is a thumper,
He
but
is.
a second round pick, it's tough. Again, if they dressed everything, you could do it, but they didn't.
They did.
But the guy I like is Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, 6'1", 226. He's not going to test off the charts. He didn't. You look at him 2 years ago, that guy was an animal in Oklahoma State when he had a little better player. And I'm going to look at Watts from Notre Dame, that safety in the second round. It would probably take a second round to get him, but I like that kid. He's certainly not a sleeper. But the guy I like, he's a receiver. They're not done with the receiver picks yet. Like Gasecki, by all intents and purposes, he's just a slot receiver. You agree?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's not a tight end. They could address that later potentially, but Isaac Tesla from Arkansas, he looks like Alec Pierce. He runs like Alec Pierce. I don't mean skin color. I mean his body shape, his numbers are almost exactly the same. Played in a horrible offense, still averaged almost 20 yards of reception. They got Burton for that role. Can you depend on it? So right now you've got
The answer is no.
answers no. So you've got Chase who's elite. You got T, but T is hurt all the time. Who else you got? You got Yoshi's okay. He's not going to take the top off. You need somebody like this Tesla kid. He might be able to get him in the fourth round. You never know now, though. I mean, he tested really well, but that kid, he's 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is. They talk about him in the slot, but you can move him around. Just
Uh,
the go ball. Takes the safeties out. Let's chase team, whoever work underneath. I really like him. I think he could be a nice pick for him. And then tight end wise, you talked about Arroyo, who I like. I think Jason Taylor's kid is probably going to go a little too high for him. I think it's either Tyler Warner or they don't pick one until late. There's some guys there. But those two guys in particular, that running back to offset Chase Brown, and if you got Judkins, the 1-2 punch of those two guys,
and they're totally different,
he's
right?
a
So it's
beast.
perfect. It's
He's a
perfect.
beast.
It's
And
perfect.
he's used to sharing. You don't look at the guy from Iowa who played. He's from Hamilton, and he had all these crazy numbers, which he did. What would Judkins have if he was at Ohio State not sharing trading?
Not sharing.
Oh my gosh! So that's a couple guys I think that could be very beneficial in later round picks. Got anybody you're looking at, Stevie Boy?
So I'll start with running back. I believe it's pronounced Mongene or Mongene. He's the running back from Rutgers, 5'8", 211. His RAS was 401, didn't test well, but I went back and watched some film on him. My God, this kid, I mean, every time he touched the ball, he was breaking a tackle. He hit the hole decisively. He read his blocks. He put his foot in the ground. Um, Super talented. I don't have his stats from him. I think he had like 14 or 15 touchdowns. Um, I mean, this kid, he caught some balls. didn't catch a bunch, but that offense, I mean, they were a 500 team. So I, I I don't know. I just got to watching his film. I'm like, man, they get him in the fourth or fifth round. I mean, that's a freaking steal just to compliment Chase, right? And then I really like. Lost my train of thought. Hold on a
I'll
second.
jump in. He
Okay.
had 13 rushing TDs for Rutgers.
Okay.
He's a little slow. Yeah, Zerline's got him as a priority free agent, but
Yeah.
he's not real big. I think they need that thumper for sure, but he's physical. You know, you think of Pacheco, whatever, for Kansas City, came from Rutgers. Nice whack. But yeah, you never know. I mean, the defensive players, you know, the later rounds, the corner will be something that they could address in later rounds as well. You know, Ohio State, like, you know, Denzel Burke took a beating for me and everyone else. But you look at him at his best, right? 2 years ago, he could have came out. Jordan Hancock, Ransom from Ohio State, you know, those guys are all potentially there. While you're looking that up, I'll go over some of the visits here that the Bengals have had. I don't know how up to date, but Eamon Wari, we talked about him. Cornerly from Oregon, O'Tackle, Martin, Oklahoma State. So these guys, you know, they're looking at these guys later around. Nolan, Charles Grant, he's got a lot of heat, a lot of pickup from William Mary. A lot of people talking about him. Norman Lott, you know, James Pierce, and Sabanea from Arizona, Ty Robinson, Nebraska. And then all the Ohio State guys, you know, are coming in. But
Yeah. Yeah. They don't count.
Ty Hamilton would be a nice pick. But I prefer, you know, defensive end, you know, if they went, you know, defensive end in the second round, depending on what they did in the first round, you know, Jack Sawyer gets a lot of pub as he should, but I thought JTT was a better player than him. So it'd be interesting to see if they go the Ohio State route. They've been doing drafting a lot of Michigan players. I wouldn't say it's really worked out well for him
Yeah.
thus far.
Emory Jones was a guy that I liked. I believe it was Texas. Sorry, LSU. He tested pretty well. He's got good size, good arm length from what I think it was like 33 and a half, 34-inch arms. So he's one of them that can move from outside to inside and then maybe move outside later on, fourth, fifth, late third. I mean, it's hard telling once you get to third, it's hard telling where some of these guys want to go. But um, they just got to get better in the trenches.
Absolutely.
I mean,
The non pretty picks.
yes, yes. They just got to get better in the trenches.
I'll tell you a guy I like, not for the Bengals, another Higgins, Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. He's starting to get a lot. If you watched him play last year, oh boy,
Yep.
he's got a shot at, you know, he'll go early second round. Can't really look at him, but some interesting names out there, and it'll be interesting to see what some of the competition does. As we talked about, you know, the Raiders, you know, kind of a cluster of an organization, but we want them to be better, even though we don't want them to be better, right? Because the AFC, but that division keeps getting a little bit better. Things won't be quite as easy for the Chiefs as it has been. You know,
Yeah.
Sean Payton with Knicks and Denver, they're improving rapidly. Harbaugh can't stand him; he's a hell of a coach. The Chargers are improving, so the Raiders, you know, get on the map there. And another guy, Luke Lachey, Jim Lachey's son, right, tight end from Iowa. He's a really good football player. Like he'd be a nice pick for the Bengals later. Obviously, great genetics. And Jim Lachey was all pro for the Redskins for many years. Ohio State color commentator. So there's a lot of guys to look out there. It's going to be an interesting draft, though. I'm pretty amped about it.
Me too.
Um, Anything else you want to add before we talk about something else here and switch gears just a little bit off of football for just a sec?
Yeah. So Chris Paul Jr. I keep coming back to linebacker. It's just I just feel like he's an athlete from Ole Miss. Um, he was his scored a 6.13 in RAS. He's 6 foot, but he's 222. So maybe a little undersized for a linebacker. You know what I mean? I think at the combine he was 235, so he gained some weight for that, right? So which also can hurt his production there at the combine. You add almost 15 pounds.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you got to kind of look at that. But Chris Paul Jr., that was one of them that I wanted to say earlier. And maybe that first two or three takes that we took, I had drank maybe two or three.
Yeah.
Speaking of a beer, would you mind getting me one? Because you got one over in a bag, and I like to have a
Yeah, I
beer.
would. Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State, safety.
Absolutely.
So a way to get a steal is injury, character issues, or undersized, right?
I agree.
And he's got the injury, but you never know. He's 6'1", 215 safety. He played well when he was healthy before.
Yeah.
That could be a good pick.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we move along, like we said, we are going to be doing a draft special. I do want to point out that I
I
am
get
going to
excited when you point things
drink
out.
another Ultra.
Sissy
This
beer.
is only like my second.
It's Mick Ultra, so does it count? It's like Kool-Aid.
It's not. Well, yeah, I would agree with that. But again, I got to get them go to work. So as we continue on, what do you think as far as depth at corner? Um, they're young.
Scary.
Dax is coming back. Is he going to be is he going to take Hilton's spot? Is he
That's
going
what
to
I
be
think.
that slot guy? Are they going to keep him outside? What do you think?
I think he'll be. I think it'll be CTB, DJ Turner on the corner outside, and he'll play the slot, blitz a lot probably. He's athletic, man. Like I just don't. I didn't hate that. I didn't like the pick when they made it, but I didn't hate it.
Right.
Right. But it was a big whiff because they let Bates go thinking he was it. That's the whole backfield stuff,
Right.
right? That's not how you draft a
But then
team.
let's not play him the first year. Let's let him
Yeah,
get 5 snaps
yeah.
all year long.
He
Ridiculous.
you put him in the slot though. I think he could play pretty well, especially with Golden State. For those of you like if you don't watch college football, Al Golden did a nice job at Notre Dame this year. Like they were aggressive as hell. They blitzed like crazy. Everybody giving him beef for blitzing when Jeremiah Smith beat him, but he made them make a play to beat them.
Yep.
I repeat, he made
Made
Ohio
them.
State. He kept it close enough, which,
Oh yeah.
we can talk about Ryan Day on that one, but he kept it close enough to
Yep.
give them a shot right there. That offense was loaded.
Make a throw.
They had to
Make a
make it.
catch.
It was a hell of a throw and a hell of a catch. And Will Howard played his ass off. Of course, I was rooting for Ohio State, but I like what Golden did that game. People were giving him, oh, you can't blitz that. I'd take that over giving somebody a little easy pass for a first down, like we've saw for the last.
Just dink and dunk for 15
He
plays.
made him play. He's going to do that a lot. So, it's going to look a whole lot different. Who knows how it'll turn out. But when they're playing Baltimore this year, for example, it's not going to be him running around doing whatever the hell he wants. He may make more plays than he's ever made. We'll see. But they're going to at Lamar Jackson. They're going to at people, and I'll take that any day of the week. So you look at he's going to draft some of his guys, and Dax Hill, I think is going to be a critical piece to what they're doing.
He is. And CTB.
Yep, CTB's going to step it up. Less talk, more play, right?
Yep.
Talked way too much last year. So, okay, I think that's it. We're going to talk a little bit about something else here real quick. We'll wrap it up. We'll have another show prior to the draft. We're pretty excited about that as well. But what did Shuffle do? What did Shuffle do this past weekend? My friend
Yes.
Shuffle's his band, by the way.
We were contacted a few months back about playing at the Cincinnati Reds ball game. So we was at Great American Ballpark, and we got to play a pretty damn good show. We did well. It was a good crowd. It was Ellie De La Cruz bobblehead night, so it was a really big crowd. Ended up hitting a grand slam on his bobblehead night, which is super
awesome.
cool. We had a great time. We want to thank the Reds for bringing us in and give us the opportunity to do that. It's great exposure for Shuffle. I thought we produced pretty well. We put on a pretty good show. We played about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. We got on the Jumbotron. The
Yeah, that's sweet.
Jumbotron.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so it was a good time. We enjoyed it, and we appreciate the opportunity.
And this is my second Perdomo cigar while taking Mucinex. I don't know how many Irish beers. 6. It's tough. It's tough. But tell people where they can find Shuffle. You do a very poor job of marketing yourself, my friend.
We're on Facebook. Find us there. If any huge places would like to pay us a lot of money to come and play, we will do that. No, seriously. We just love playing music. You can catch us on Facebook. Send us a message if you want to get us booked. Pretty booked the rest of the year. I mean, we book out 8 months, so I mean, we play anywhere between 24, 30 shows a year. I don't want to be divorced, so I got to limit how much I play. I love you, wife, which is Mana Zorns. She actually got on me because when we talked about my family the other, I think it was episode 2 or 1,
Yeah,
whatever.
one, I think.
She was like, "You didn't mention me."
Didn't you?
I did not. I mentioned all my kids and her kids, but I did
Uh,
not mention hers. So yeah, I caught shit. Uh, uh,
well deserved. Long
yeah,
overdue.
but yeah, well deserved, absolutely. But she's my rock. She's great, and I love her to death. She puts up with my shit, so that means a lot.
Yeah, it's
So
funny. You say she's your rock, and when she talks about you, she just says you are a
our
rock.
rock,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
she's not wrong.
Yeah.
She's dead on. So yeah, I think that'd be great. Well, Hilltop, we're going to do. Getting way ahead here, but we'll do. Maybe we go to preseason game even since we're doing this. We'll do podcasts at Hilltop.
I think so.
Yeah, it'd be fun. We can set all this up there as long as it's not
Yep.
like it was here, hail and everything else earlier. So it'll be fun. So yeah, if you got any questions or anything, we'd love to do some Q and A's. Like I'll try to tweet some of those out. So if you have questions you want on the show, we'll give you props. Don't
And we got some promotion things coming up that I'm trying to do. I've got a company that guy I work with. He does t-shirts, so he's making a couple t-shirts for us. So we're gonna see how they look. If we love them, we'll have some of them at ball games. Well, we might even have some
giveaways.
giveaways, some hats, maybe some keychains. I got some different things I'm working on. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, yeah. We're not here to get rich, but if it happened, it happened. We're not going to sell a bunch of stuff, but we will do giveaways locally and otherwise. We may do some remote podcasts too. We talk about that. It's pretty good in here actually. This is a garage gym where I built it into. Someday I'll show you that. So I got a GHD, reverse hyper, sauna, squat rack, cross trainer, everything. Yeah, it's great. It's great. He used to come and then he wussed out. But so yeah, we're looking forward to the draft. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Live, we'll promote it. YouTube. What else I got to do? Subscribe and
And ring the bell.
ring the bell.
Also, like, please, like, get our word out. Tell your friend. Tell everybody. I mean,
Tell your
we
neighbors,
just want to
sisters,
have
cousins.
fun. We always want to have fun doing this, and we enjoy the fact that we can get together and start this and have a good time and hang out, drink some beer, and smoke a cigar, and just talk about something we love in the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep. And we're not just having fun. We're putting in the work behind the scenes, studying and
Trying to.
doing all that and having fun too. The weather's not been our best friend. So
No.
technology hasn't been our best friend either, but we're getting there. So your final words,
Stay to the right, slow traffic.
Bang the Drum podcast coming at you next week.